Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley. Today we are joined by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hello, everyone. Glad you're here.
We're so thrilled to have you here today. Today we're going to be talking about creating offer ladders, or maybe a more straightforward way to put it would be trying to figure out the maze of how to lead people from what you offer to maybe another thing you offer, and perhaps still then to another thing. How do we connect those things together? And how do we do it in such a way that is not super overwhelming for us? Because, you know, we like to manage our stuff ourselves, but tech is not necessarily what we signed up for when we decided to be a coach or an expert on what it is that we do. So we're going to demystify that and help you get into a space where you feel a lot of confidence and clarity around how you can execute strategies to fill your business or practice with the kind of people that you want to work with in the ways that you want to work with them, because you aren't limited to just one thing. So we're going to get into that today. As you're coming in, please do let us know where you're coming in from. We're very excited to hear from you, learn more about your business. Definitely see a couple of new faces here today. So I'm looking forward to learning more about you guys. What we're going to do first, because we do have some live work that we're going to do together. I think actually with two people today, definitely with one, potentially with two. We are going to begin with some slides. So I've actually put together sort of some visual models here that I think might help us to gain a little bit more clarity about what we do moving forward. And then in the second half of the call, what I'd really like for us to be able to focus on doing is talking through your specific business and what it is that you want to be setting up as offers in your business. Maybe you do have something already and you're wanting to add something new and you're trying to figure out how you can connect those things together. So obviously with everyone's business here being a little different, a little unique compared to the next person, do want to make sure that we have that time here today to actually work with you through these ideas that you have so that we can get them executed and working in the way that you want them to. So let me grab my slides here. If Zoom would like to let me share them, it's strange. And hey guys in the chat, looking forward to chatting with you guys some more. Joel, how hot is it in Phoenix? Because I'm in New York City right now and it's like, it's hot. Curious to hear. All right, whoever's talking about 75-degree days, we need a conversation. All right, so, oh, actually, that's you, Greg. All right, we're gonna stop video. We're going to stop video here so that we can get a really great recording for our YouTube channel. By the way, you guys, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, it is youtube.com/AttractWell, and that is where we put all of our replays for these live calls that we do. So if you can't make them live, you could always go back and watch the replay. So today we're going to talk about the offer ladder and how you can use multiple funnels to increase your sales and your clients in your business. All right. So what's happening today is we're going to talk about funneling leads into those multiple programs or offers, and then we'll get into live strategy discussion and live help and Q&A. So do let us know what you do. What business are you in? What do you offer? Who do you work with? What is your magic touch? And if you came here today looking for help, whether it's about today's topic or about something entirely different, this is a live work session designed to get you the hands-on help that you need when you need it. So please do put any questions that you have that you need help with in the Q&A so that we don't miss you, because it can get a little fun, a little crazy, and stuff can get lost in the chat. So if you want to work together live on an upcoming call, like we will be doing today, you can go to attractwell.com/work review and reserve space on a future call. And then, of course, you can get on the list for this if you're watching this as a replay, attractwell.com/office hours. That'll put you on the list to get notified of exactly what we'll be training on every week. And of course, you'll get a link to join the live Zoom so that you can be a part of this great little party we're having here every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, so how many of us here have a funnel in place to sell something in your business? Maybe just to pop up your hand. Do you have a funnel? Awesome. So real quick, did teach on this last week, and we do have several trainings where I teach on this. We actually have a whole course dedicated to teaching this very specific funnel strategy. So this may look familiar to you. If it doesn't, don't worry. We've got a lot of training, recorded training that you can go through that'll teach this to you. So this is the one that we tend to teach. What this one is really geared toward here is folks who offer services or coaching. This is great for high ticket. And just a real quick caveat, if you are someone who wants to, sell courses or something that's more leveraged that doesn't require a conversation with a lead in order for them to qualify and purchase, all you have to do after the authority page is take them to right here on the booking page, where it says booking page, swap that out with something like a webinar, right? Like a recorded video. And then of course you can move them onto a sales page, webinar piece being optional there. And of course you would remove the little phone guys because you wouldn't be speaking with them. So this is something that is, useful in multiple ways if you look at it the right way. Now that is the same funnel that we just looked at here. I want to show you what it looks like from the top down, simplified perspective, okay? Because this is the whole big picture, because traffic source over here on the left is how you get found. And then the landing page is where somebody actually becomes a lead, right? So this is the very simple way to look at it. You've got where you show up, right? So that's your social, it's, that you have a profile on different platforms, basically. Then you have your content. This is the substantive stuff that is typically something like YouTube videos or, or blog posts, things like this, where you're actually showing, as a published content creator that your stuff, what you're talking about, that allows people the opportunity to trust you. And then they get into the funnel, which is, again, that's like kind of where we start here with the landing page, right? So they know from their, wherever they came from in the traffic source, that they like you and what you have to say enough that they trust giving you their contact information. That's what happens at this funnel level. Inside that funnel, different things, lots of different things can happen. As you've seen here, they could get on a call with you. They could have a nurture campaign. You give them a freebie. You could offer any number of different kind of free things to help move them along towards saying yes and making a purchase. Whatever the means is that you use to convert that lead into a client or customer, that's the next step. That could be, again, a one-on-one call. It could be a webinar style, training video, or just sending them over to a sales page. And then finally, you've got your offer in the middle where they've taken advantage of and purchased what it is that you have to offer, right? These are the same thing, right? It's just simplified. But if we're going to speak about this strategically in an accurate sense, this is actually what your funnel looks like, because content is really how you get found. And it's how people come to really know and understand you. Now, if you are somebody who either runs your own or hires out Facebook ads, this might be less true for you, but I think for the majority of us here, this is really going to be the most accurate read on how you run things. So if you want to know how to build a funnel, again, just kind of starting out here, you want to know how to build a funnel like the one I showed you in the big schematic in the front of this this training, you can go to attractwell.com/CFC. This is a free training that has videos, it has done for you templates. So you have a starting point for designing and creating the elements of this that you want, and strategy on copy and getting it out there, and basically everything. So make sure you take advantage of this. Now, the funnel that I've just shared with you is typically used to sell one product or to fill one program. Although if you are using it as I've taught it in the Client Funnel Challenge, where you're getting someone onto a call, you do have the ability to, from that call, determine what kind of offer you might want to actually put in front of that person on the call with you. So you do have, if you're using a strategy call funnel or a discovery call funnel, or however you want to term it, where you're actually getting onto the phone with leads, you do have built into that the opportunity to point them in the direction of more than one thing, right? But if we're going full automation here, a funnel is typically just going to sell one thing, okay? But what if you have more than one thing? How many of you have more than one thing that you offer that you would like to be monetizing in your business? Right? So look, if you're speaking to one audience, then you can offer many things to the same list. Okay. Now, if you are, for whatever reason, you have audience A and audience B, and they're different enough that they are distinguishable, and you're speaking to two very clear different groups of people, then you're not going to want to do what I'm showing you here. You would want to actually kind of have separate whole structures like this this guy here, right? Because it's not all for the same person. Your content is for your person. So generally speaking, I wouldn't advise having two of these unless you literally are running two different businesses that you're going to be monetizing in two different ways, in which case you'd probably have, two different websites and two different AttractWell accounts. So it's probably not most of us here today, right? So anyway, if you are speaking to the same audience with your content, helping people solve the same kinds of problems, then it's ultimately a matter of just adding other rungs in the ladder here in the offer field, right? So it's just a matter of once somebody gets into one offer, maybe now they have unlocked the ability to view others. You can have people pop over in conversion into one or more of these things that you offer, right? So just as an example, and Mark, I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about this today. So let's just say you have, a $7 a month membership community, and that's the main offer that you're converting. And so, maybe what you're doing is through your content, right? You're sharing little tips and tricks, but they're little bites, right? Think of these like cake crumbs as opposed to the whole slice, right? And if they'd like to have a little cake whenever they want it, they can come and pay $7 a month and get this whole thing that you put out every month, where they can get access to all this great stuff, right? So you don't really need a very complicated funnel. And I know, Mark, one of the things that you mentioned was like a $7 a month membership community. You don't really need to have a very complicated funnel to sell a $7 a month thing, right? You really just need to have content and a presence to do that. And of course, a way to take payment. If you wanted to maybe give a month for free, or you want to give away one of the things that's only inside of there, and kind of wave that around as an exclusive thing somebody could get in for free, and now they can join for $7 a month, you can use the funnel training that I've provided previously to set people up to get into this community, right? But let's just say you've got the $7 a month membership community, and maybe a lot of the people on your list think this is a really cool thing and they decide to opt in, right? But then you've got a $97 workshop. Now that's something that you could offer from your content. You could offer that to your existing list. You could offer that to just to the people who are a part of the $7 a month community, right? You have those different options. But maybe from there, you also have folks that could take advantage of group coaching that's $12.97, right? Or your one-on-one coaching. And do you see how these kind of shrink in size? Right? Where we've got, more people are going to obviously take advantage of the lower priced offering, and then fewer and fewer still. We're going narrower down into the funnel. Remember, we're looking at this is a funnel, and we've just created 3 different spouts on the bottom of the funnel, and they get really narrow, tiny at the bottom, because there's, if everyone on your list became your one-on-one client, you would need to hire an army of people to help you serve them, right? That's not really what you're aiming for. You're looking for the right people to get to the right point. Right? So the question, and I think, Mark, this is the question that you posed, does this mean you need more than one funnel? So the answer is yes, but, right? It really helps to look at your whole business as a funnel first, right? So I know that in terms of like looking at the tech language and the vocabulary that we're operating with here, a funnel is absolutely an automated thing that you can put in place that has some kind of a landing page or lead form that connects them to some kind of a freebie. There's some kind of exchange of value there for them to give you their contact info. And then there is a drip series that follows, that nurtures, and of course, repeats your call to action, hopefully moving them toward the conversion spot in your funnel, whatever that looks like, right? That is what a funnel is. But if we can just from a mindset perspective, take a step back and recognize that our whole business is a funnel. And I will make sure that you guys get access to this, this thing here as a download if you'd like to have it. So basically at the very top of your funnel, and this is all, it corresponds to the degree of sort of work and effort that needs to be put in terms of what is out there that's created in your business. Up at the very top of your funnel is where you get seen, right? The whole point is like, let's capture attention from any number of different ways. We've got lots of different ways that we can do this. And then those who are interested, once you've caught their attention, will take action in one way or another. That lead magnet funnel that I just mentioned, that's literally one option at the second level down in your business funnel, right? Because you could be out there in the DMs having conversations. Maybe you have a challenge, or maybe you even have that $7 a month group and people hop in that way, right? Maybe those people who are at the $7 a month group are infinitely more qualified, which statistically, they would be infinitely more qualified to offer higher ticket programs and services to, because they have bought from you once already, right? And that's kind of the purpose of having that low barrier to entry, low cost model that you were mentioning that we'll talk about here together shortly. But then what we want to basically do once we capture their attention, we want to get their information. Once we have their information, they are in the funnel. They are now capable of being offered any number of things. You're building a list, right? That lead magnet funnel builds your list of contacts who like to hear from you, who want to know what you have to say, and yeah, also want to know what you sell, right? So if you look at your whole business as a funnel, as a pipeline toward growing a large list of people in front of whom you could put any offer, then it starts to feel a little simpler, a little easier when we start kind of thinking about, okay, what do I need to have in place to execute, multiple offers in my business, right? Because there are going to be things that have to be present for anything that you sell, right? We need a place where we're explaining what they get that takes their payment, right? We need a place where we're actually delivering the thing that they have been sold, right? So we need a sales page, or at least a checkout page for a vault. We need campaigns, all that kind of stuff. There are elements that are going to be necessary for all these pieces. All right, but this is the really important part. You want to make sure that you're only creating one offer at a time and that you're selling it successfully before you start trying to add new bells and whistles. Especially if you are, maybe not a digital native, or you're somebody who does not feel super confident with using tech. The best way to use tech is logically for the business you already have, right? So I would focus first on creating the one thing and having that set up successfully. You've sold it to a few people or maybe a lot of people, and you really love how that's going. That's going to inform your action for your next steps, right? It's really easy to look at what others are doing and to sort of say, you know what, I believe what I would like to do is a this and a that and the other. But the fact is when you look at a complete system that somebody else has set up, they also started with one thing, right? And you're going to find that what your audience, your clients, your customers actually need may actually be different from what you're thinking in the first place. And you're not going to know that until you're actually in it with them. You've got your sleeves rolled up, you're working with them, and you actually start to see those opportunities to serve in different ways. So it's easier to conceptualize and execute strategies for the business that you have today. So definitely please start with that. It's cool to have a goal and to start getting an idea in mind of all of the pieces that you need. But what I've experienced and what I see clients experiencing all the time is that if we have a plate that's spinning, right, that's already spinning, it's easier to have two of them, right? Once you have one, right? You can't juggle one ball. That's probably the better way to put this. You can't juggle one ball, right? But once we have the ball and we feel good about tossing it up in the air and we can catch it, now we can really start to add another thing in that works together with the first thing, right? But you can't just, throw it all in at once. All right. So it's easier to start with the business you already have and get things in place that that really serve that bigger business funnel model with what you already have than it is to try to create a whole bunch of stuff just out of the air, right? So your first funnel will look like this, right? Your business will be, I have something that I offer. I have a way that I convert it. I have a funnel that brings me leads who would be the best fit for it. And the way that those leads find me is through my content, and they find my content through my online presence, right? From the inside out. And of course, again, if we're doing things right, that content is going to be doing the majority of the heavy lifting for you. And then of course, when you recognize a new way to serve the audience that you've built, it's time to add a new layer, add another offer into the center, right? So depending on who your new offer is for, this could be cold leads, so people that you've never sold to, very, very top of your business pipeline, people don't know you yet, versus your existing list, people who have opted in for something from you in the past, versus people who are already working with you in one way. All of these are going to influence how you position your new offers and how you build the funnel assets that will actually sell those new offers. But either way, if it requires payment for a new thing, you're gonna need to create assets to sell and deliver it, like I mentioned before, like a sales page and so on. So this does kind of mean new offer equals new funnel, but it's going to be a little different based on what you're doing. So think of the automated pieces that you build to sell the other parts of your offer ladder as just little automated helpers in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't have to necessarily be a full-blown funnel like the one that you learned in the client funnel challenge, right? So if you're selling to people who don't know you yet, right, because you've never sold them anything, they maybe aren't on your list yet, this does require a new funnel because they don't know you. They don't know to trust you yet. So give away something of value to get their attention and their contact info. So this is what your content does. So if you're creating YouTube videos or something like that, or blog posts, and you're teaching somebody something for free, how they can get a benefit that is relevant to how you serve your clients, then you say, hey, I've got a piece of how I work with my clients I'd like to give you that I think would be valuable. Click here, put your information in, and you can get it. Now those people are on your list. Now we can sell them something, right? The campaign that they receive after opt-in would sell that new offer. And you're going to focus on that top of funnel in this case, namely your content, right? Now, if you're selling to your existing audience, which is the reason why we want to build a big list of people, that's why your funnel is so important. It builds your list. It doesn't necessarily get everybody buying right away. It does provide the quickest path to a yes for the ready. But over time, you get to build a list of people who weren't ready at the time you offered something, who could very much be ready for something else later on down the road, right? So this doesn't necessarily require a new lead magnet, but it can't hurt because these are people who haven't bought from you yet. Maybe they're looking for a new perspective, maybe offering them a new lead magnet, so essentially a new funnel, is going to, renew their interest in what it is that you have to say so that they might be more engaged with you. A live or recorded training is a really great way to introduce your existing audience to an offer, right? It's a little bit more difficult if you've got people who are just seeing you on social media or even with, your blog or YouTube content or whatever in passing, inviting them to sit down for a 45-minute spiel about, how to get XYZ benefit and then ostensibly, get your pitch. The people who are already listening to you are much more likely to want to see that and actually sit through it and respond to it. So this would be actually a really great place to place something in the style of a webinar. And then of course, you want to follow up in any case with a sales campaign, because even though they are your existing audience, you're selling them a new thing. They need to know why this thing is a thing that they need. And of course, you're going to do that with a series of emails. Okay. Now, these are the people that I've just described who are in the middle of your funnel, right? So they are at the second level down. They're in your pipeline. They haven't purchased, right? So they're in these second two layers. They've opted in. Maybe you've chatted with them before. They're on your list. Maybe they're in a lead group. You've had a conversation with them. Maybe you've invited them to a webinar or workshop before, and so on. Okay. Now, if you're selling to your existing customers, you do not need to create an entirely new funnel with a brand new lead magnet, because these are people who have already worked with you and love what you have to say. So a live or recorded training is a great way to introduce this existing audience to a new offer. And of course, a sales campaign is going to be advantageous for you here as well. All right. And this is your tribe. These are the people who are down here at the bottom. They've made it all the way to the bottom of your funnel. This is where they get access to the stuff that you have. They're on your list, but you get to maybe offer them something special. Say, hey, since you've worked with me here, we can apply some of your tuition toward this new thing that I'm doing. Let's go do it, right? So now let's talk through this, how you can build your own offer ladder and then get into some live help and Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and get out of my share here and turn video back on. Now, Mark, where are you? There you are. I'm going to bring you out to chat because you requested this today. Let's talk through your offer.
Hello there. Thank you.
Hey.
So my thought is that, well, number one, this really helps because I end up trying to build 15 different funnels, over exaggeration, and then so I'm so busy trying to work that out that I just get lost in the weeds and then end up doing nothing, which is probably part of my ADHD. Anyway, so my thought is that, like you illustrated, to have an entry level, like $7 a month, I'm calling it, this sounds silly when I say it out loud, but the New You Growth Hub. And it's for people going through life transition, just to have a community of support. And within that, I have a course, or what you guys call a vault, I guess, is just tools that people who are successful will use, and they would have access to that and just be able to be in a community, have and give support. And then I would go on and do, office hours once a week. And then from that,
That's
the
great.
and then so then my idea is from that, there's an upsell opportunity like you've illustrated for more dedicated, I would just probably at this point group coaching, and then upsell from there for exclusive one-on-one coaching with me. So that's my idea.
Yeah. So that's the kind of thing that you can have, like you don't have to have one thing must lead to the next, right?
Okay.
Like there is an opportunity, I think, in terms of especially how you set up your site. I would maybe have the one-on-one, depending on how you work with people. I don't have the one-on-one with me option available except for behind several barriers, right?
I
Like
see.
you need to, have a subscription, and then of course, even then there's sort of a, let's tick off all of these boxes, right? So you could go about it that way, but tell me about how you work with people one-on-one though. So is that like, is it 6 sessions? Is it a package, a program? Like, what does that look like?
What I want it to be is I've got a 12-week program that takes them from I'm creating my compelling future to I'm now making this a reality. And at the end of 12 weeks, we decide together, okay, do you continue one-on-one with me weekly, or is it once a month? What's it going to look like for you?
Okay.
So that's right now, because of COVID, I'm kind of restarting from scratch, and I'm glad I have clients at this point. So
Yeah, for sure. Now, is the group coaching a thing that exists yet?
No, and
Okay.
that's so no, and I'm geared towards it. I teach coaching to the students at the school where I got my certification from. So, and I've taught business for years, so I'm geared towards doing that. And it's just a matter of getting it set up. And like you said in the training, and today is the one thing that I need to start doing is getting myself out there. Start creating blog posts, because that's one thing that's been missing. So
yeah,
no
and
one
that's
knows.
going to be the thing that really serves like your PR development, your growth. Like just it really goes a long way. So what I would do, Mark, is definitely focus on that $7 a month offer and really look to build community with that, and have that be when you're creating content, invite people straight there. Right. And then maybe something that you can do on the page where you're pointing them off to where they can opt in, because the $7 a month thing, you could do that in a vault inside of your AttractWell account. But on the page that sends them there, before they navigate away, right? So this would be like an exit intent pop-up. And so if you're in a page in AttractWell in the page settings under leads, you can actually choose whether or not the pop-up appears by clicking a button or when they try to leave the screen. So have an exit intent pop up there that maybe gives some kind of a freebie away that sells them on this $7 a month deal. So I would be promoting 2 things: your $7 a month deal, because I mean it's just an easy thing to get people into, but then also like a general mailing list, right? So that you've got people who are opting in, and then just going through the client funnel challenge, be promoting the front door of that funnel that sells your program, because you can have these things concurrently. And when you've got the actual $7 a month deal, you're giving them a little bit more than the people on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot get. But maybe they get some kind of a coupon code for your package or something like that. You give them just a little something to help push them over toward that. And I would maybe with group coaching, until you've got a good base of people who are in that small group, I would maybe wait a little bit to launch group.
Okay. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So I've almost finished it, but the funnel challenge, which I've done, which is brilliant. So I can just take that and gear it towards this $7 membership.
So I would Kate, because the client funnel challenge is really meant for you to be able to sell high ticket. I would have I would really focus like your program, right? The big money maker is what that funnel sells. But
Okay.
in your email sequence, like always have the $7 guy mentioned there.
Oh, gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
And yeah.
Then should I create a different funnel just for the $7 membership? See, that's where I started getting confused.
Yes, but a small one. So here's what I would say is if they're already on your list, just send them to the sales page, if you will, for the $7 program, right? They're already on your list. But if they're coming to your website and they want to know more about the $7 program, I would have an exit intent pop up on that page to be like, hey, do you want a sneak peek or something like that? Just so you can grab that lead and get them on your list.
Okay, great.
Does that make sense?
It does, totally. I'm probably going to rewatch this about 5 times, but thank you.
All right, great. So glad it could help.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. You're always welcome to come out and chat with us. We're happy to help. Okay, so Joel had signed up to work one-on-one today, so I'm going to bring you out to chat. Hi, Joel.
Hi, Ashley. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well.
All right. I am. Of course. I'm digging up my notes here, but why don't you just kind of let me know what you're looking for help on while I find this.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year I created my website and then took the intent on getting people to the website. So I started doing blog posts. I started doing podcast interviews. I created a YouTube channel, which is very in its infancy at this point still, but just trying to get awareness with a different audience. And that worked relatively well. I have a consistent views on my website, but no one's converting.
Okay.
So then it was like, okay, now let's redo the website. So I just redid the website and used one of the templates that you had recently come up with. And so I just really wanted to get a fresh set of eyeballs. Am I kind of going in the right direction here? What would you change? That kind of a thing.
Okay. This is fun. Ooh, look at the animation. This is really cool. So here we go. So you've got these all link off to the different options that you're offering here, right?
Yes, and each icon does as well.
Nice. Okay, good. And you've got your courses. Joel, this looks really good. Oh, how fun. This is great. Let me ask you this, since we're talking about conversion, right? And trying to make sure people are actually taking action when they land here. Tell me what you're saying and doing to bring people here in the first place. Like what is your sort of exposure, strategy, content, presence, those sort of outer layers of your business funnel?
So I'm fairly consistent on social media, on both Instagram and Facebook. I have recently started doing short, 1-minute hack videos on TikTok that I'll upload to YouTube for the YouTube Shorts. Again, that just started, so I don't have a lot of effectiveness there yet, but the reels are doing fairly well. And then I took a step back from podcast interviews and blog posts to really kind of work on the site to try and make it convert. And then this next phase will be going back out again and doing podcast interviews. I have a monthly article that I write for an online magazine, and so those get published in my blog as well. Yeah, that's probably what I've been doing so far.
Okay, great. So, oh, nice. This is you're selling your You're booking, so you're going to book a discovery call
And there's an
here.
intake form for that before they can get on my Calendly.
So you know that we can actually have the form directly on the page now, right?
So let me ask you about that, because
Mhm,
if that happens and someone clicks off of the intake form and
mhm.
chooses not to do the intake form, will they still have access to that?
So
So
I mean,
what,
it would just, the form would just be embedded on the page. So they would
right,
just fill
okay.
it out. Yeah.
So,
They would,
so the reason why I chose not to do that, and I'd love your input on this, is so that they don't have a choice but to fill out the intake form until they get to my Calendly.
right. Well, they're not going to be able to get to your Calendly until they complete the form regardless. Because what's
Okay.
going to happen is like they have to, here, let me refresh this to bring it back up. Like my concern for you is that it's not like, if they click off of here, they're going to lose their progress. And then they're going to
Gotcha.
have to refresh the page. And then the likelihood of like, they're going to be like, oh, it's too much work. And like, you know what I mean? You want to
Yeah.
make it as simple as possible, low barrier to entry here. They're going to have to fill everything out that's required and then click this button. And then that's going to take them, I assume you take them to Calendly on the next page.
Yes.
Yeah. So they'll have to complete it regardless.
Okay.
But I would recommend, in lieu of this, if the button was, if this button said lead and they could open it up, then that would be one thing. Another thing that you might consider, and I have an example of this of my own. Where's my apply for a call? So I don't have it on the page, but I say, you know, hey, here, this is what we're going to talk about. Let's do this. And now we've got the pop up and they fill it out. But you have to, you know, they can still access the pop up via the button. The only issue really here is that this button, it's a contact form, and instead
Gotcha.
of the form that we want them to fill out. That's the only thing there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got that. Great. So we're basically selling this and moving them toward the call. Perfect.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay. One thing that I think could be really effective for you, just to make it more compelling, more dynamic, is this free guide that you're so prominently placing right here. I
Mhm.
think it deserves a page, like, you know, almost like a sales page, because,
Mhm.
you know, a planner is work, right? And they're not going to necessarily know, like, they don't know the value of ULA, and, you know, what do I even do to design my dream life? How does that even work? And so you can actually kind of talk through it and give a little bit more detail about why this is such a powerful thing. Maybe give your own testimony
Okay.
about how you've used it, and that sort of thing. So yeah,
Great.
I think that would be one thing that I would do here. Just, and again, for the sake of conversion, because what we really want to do is to capture people who land here. Now, most
Yeah.
people who land on your homepage, or who land on your website, are not going to land on your homepage, right? So for instance, if you are using YouTube or even TikTok, you know, you could be referencing your blog post links. And so then you want to make sure that you know, that you go to your blog posts, and that you have, you know, some opportunity for them to click and get, you know, a freebie that you're offering. Like they'll be
Mhm.
more likely to land on a blog post if, for instance, like, you know, here's my tip about XYZ thing, read more on my blog. And now they're going to
Gotcha.
go to your blog, right? Or you
Yeah.
say, you know, let's talk about planning, you know, for the next quarter, da, 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 da. Hey, by the way, I have a tool for this called the Dream Life Planner. Go to the link below and you can get it. Or, you know, if you want to use a link in bio page or something on your social, then you could actually have that landing page, this one,
Mhm.
connected there. So people are
Okay.
more likely to show up here, or to, you know, to your content, than they are to your homepage, just because, you know, it's directionally oriented. It's
Yeah, that
achieving
makes
something
sense.
that they're looking for. This is your business card though, and it looks really good. I love this video back here. Like you've got a lot. You've fit a lot of sort of feeling onto the page, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. Like I think you've done a really nice job with this.
Yay. Is there
Yeah.
enough white space, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, have you tested it on mobile? Do you like how it looks on mobile?
I do, yeah. So I had a couple of pages that I had to duplicate and then redo the spacing on it, or
Mhm.
not pages, but sections on that page. So that's one thing I was struggling with, is that guide right there. On my phone, it looks fine. On my wife's phone, it doesn't. And I wasn't sure how
Got
to
you.
fix it. Maybe the font's
Yeah.
too big, I'm not sure.
So I think, and Greg, you correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's about the section width and sort of like what percentage, like if you went higher than 100% or something like that, then that can impact that. But what I would recommend, just to make this easy, is have this section be something that's viewable on laptop and desktop devices, and just replicate it and then make it different for mobile. So have maybe the copy say, get my free guide to a life of design, not default, and then just have a button beneath that's like, click here for the guide, or get my guide, or something like that.
Gotcha.
Because that's going to play better on mobile.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's see what else. Yeah, it's looking good. I love it. Let's see. What do you have? Do you have a lead form on the page?
I have a lead magnet, which is the guide. So I have when you go to click off, that pops up, and it's the same lead magnet as that button that was at the top.
Got you. I would maybe repeat the same, maybe as a pop-up after they've gone about halfway down the page.
Okay.
Just like an on-page pop-up, like the hashtag lead, that one with the button, or just have that again, either be an exit intent, or after they've scrolled for a while, you offer something, because you do have a lot of content here. And while you are offering that thing right at the jump, as they're scrolling through, like, it would be good to kind of be like, hey, by the way, I've got this thing. It might be really helpful to you if you're looking for X, Y, or Z thing. Click here to get it. And
Gotcha.
and that would help get, it would help with your conversions as well, because there's a lot to wade through here, which is good, because you want to make sure they know all the things they can know about you. But when you give people lots of choices, the likelihood of them taking one, it goes down quite a bit. So if you at least reiterate, like, hey, this would be a great thing for you, with a pop-up, that could help you as well.
Okay, yeah, and that was one of my other questions. Is I have 4 main offerings that I'm showing on this page. One is one-on-one coaching, the other is public speaking, which I will have a sales page for. I've not created that yet. And then natural living, which is Young Living's essential oils, and then the Zyto scan, which would be a separate offering as well. And I've not imported the resource bundles for that yet.
Okay.
Is 4 offerings too confusing? Like, should I narrow that down, or because they're 4 very distinct things, is that okay to have on there?
I think that this is all the different things that you do. I mean, the only other way to do this, which would also be perfectly acceptable, is to have a separate work with me page and have, work with me in the menu up here, which you do have. And you do have, I mean, you've got all these things here. So you can choose to have these things on page. It's up to you. I think that it doesn't hurt to have more information for people to peruse through. It's just the downside of having more stuff on the page is that it's not really sort of narrowing down and pinpointing towards specific action that you want them to take. So so it's because you offer kind of an array of stuff. It's not a bad idea to have more information. The only thing that I would encourage you to maybe do is maybe make it more narrative around the goals and interests of the person that you're speaking to. So, Wave, this is somebody who, feels like they've lost their way in some way, right? And so you're helping them to do that. And so we want to just make sure that we're framing the things that you do and the calls to action and everything around that, finding your way. And you are doing that. But I would, as opposed to, putting like, here's a brand thing, right? Like with Ula, you could say, here's a story about a client who worked with me and they got this result. Like that kind of thing is going to serve you a little bit better than getting quite as explicit on sort of, Zyto or Ula or oils or whatever, kind of having it be more like, let me tell you a story about somebody that might sound familiar to you. Right.
Okay, so that could go in the section above there type thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you could pepper them throughout as well. You know, having testimonials that are maybe geared toward a specific conversation you're trying to have on a particular part of a page. So, you know, for instance, if you're talking about, you know, the going through the motions, giving up on dreams, all of this, a great thing to do if you have a testimonial from somebody that was maybe in this position and overcame it, this would be the, like, right underneath it is the best time to put a testimonial there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What else? What else? You've really done a lot of great work here.
Thank you. Yeah. Each one of those offerings I'll have link off to their own separate sales page.
Got you. Okay, cool, cool. These are nice. Yeah, so in some cases, you know, something like this one here, where he's talking about paying off the vehicle loans and step down from all of this, like, you know, where you maybe mentioned something about a framework where you're talking about finance or something like that, actually have, instead of having just like a square of his text there, I would have like just a whole little mini section here. Here's his photo and here's everything that he had to say. Like, just kind of put them more strategically next to the things that you're talking about. Because
Okay.
all you're really doing there is like, you're saying, hey, I know how to do it this, you needed this. And then you're like, if you're, you know, if you're questioning whether or not you need this, let's hear from somebody who got it, right? And so you've got your social proof there. And so it's concept, call to action, social proof of somebody who did it. Monkey see, monkey do. Now let's do this, right?
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, thank you for your attention and eyeballs and all of those things.
Well, we appreciate you and thank you for coming out and sharing today. We look forward to hearing more and being part of your journey.
You bet. Thank you both.
Thank you. All right, Mark says, one last question for my stuff. Should I use and modify the sales page template for my $7 membership at the end of my funnel? Maybe a no-brainer. Yes, yeah, there's no harm because you're asking somebody to overcome a sort of a mental emotional hurdle and make it easy for them to say yes. You don't want them to say yes because it's $7, because people who say yes because it's $7 are like, ah, it's cheap, I'll try it, right? You want people who are invested in working with you. And so what you have the opportunity to do if you use a sales page for that purpose, Mark, is to really build up the value so that they see and understand that they're getting something that's worth $70 or $700 a month, but you're just asking $7. And so you're going to get more people converting and more people excited. It's going to, you know, make more sense to them than their Netflix subscription and so on, right? But not just because of the price. So yeah, I would give it all of the attention that you would something else that you're selling, because you're selling it. And it's not, you don't have to put more work into selling something that costs more. You just have to put more effort into the conversation. But in order to get somebody to purchase something, it is really the same amount of work on the front end to get somebody emotionally engaged, aligned with the outcome that you are showing them, sort of them in the promised land that they could get if they actually took out their wallet and made a decision right now. And so, yeah, we want to do that no matter what our price point or our offer is. If we're charging for it, make it a sales page for sure. And that'll make it easier for you as well to insert that information into your funnel, or to just shoot a quick email out to your existing clients and say, you know, hey, if you'd like to be a part of this community, I've made it super affordable. Here you go. You know, if you've got your existing clients and you want to offer that to them, I mean, in some cases, depending on how you work with them, maybe they get a year for free. They can have a coupon code, or they get, you know, a certain amount off per month, and you can have all of those things set up in your AttractWell vault as well, so that you can, you know, kind of curate that experience for your people. Awesome. Does anybody else have questions or want to go over an offer ladder, look over site, anything like that before we close out today? Really appreciate you guys being here today, and I am so inspired seeing the work that y'all are doing. So yeah, there is still about 10 minutes left here that we could use to do any reviews or ask and answer questions if you'd like. But if we are done and we're ready to get to work, yes, Gigi, yes, I would help you. Let's talk. Thank you guys for sticking around, and look forward to doing a lot more of this. Hi, Gigi. How can we help?
Hello, everyone. I wanted to know, I checked with Greg and he shared with me how to do it, but I thought I would since there's an opportunity. So I'm kind of running low on my pages, and what I've done is I've done a Spanish page and an English page. And then I came to the conclusion, well, I can just make my confirmation page dual, bilingual, but then I have the lead page, or the lead magnet, I think is what it's called. I have one in English and I have one in Spanish. My first question to him was, well,
I think we might have a connection issue. Greg,
do
are
a
you?
jump Spanish reader to click on it to take him or her. We might, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I live in the mountains, and right where I was the connection is horrible. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay,
I
yes?
think so.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I just want to know if I can add another page to an existing page with a jump to section. If you're able to get that.
Okay, add
So
another
if it
page.
helps, yes, if
Sorry,
it helps,
go ahead.
Greg already has like the backstory of it, of the questions that I had for him. I want to basically take 2 pages and make them as one with a jump to section of that second page that I would like to have in that one page.
Okay, so it sounds like you want to
Does that
combine
make
the
sense?
content of 2 pages, and then basically at the top, you've got it in English or in Spanish, and then you say, if you want this in English or you want this in Spanish, click here, and it jumps down to the English or Spanish, the other language section, right?
Correct. Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'd like to do.
Super doable. Yes. Do you have those already made?
I do. Yes.
Okay. Let me see. What is are you AttractWell or Get Oiling?
Get oiling.
Okay. And are you Thoughtful Savvy Gigi?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna log
Thank
into your
you.
account.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go share screens here. And this is going to be in your pages, I assume. Here we go.
Yes.
Okay. So, oh yeah, you've got 3 confirmation pages. You could definitely pull that together a little bit by just combining into one.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. So which one were you hoping to modify here?
Okay, so the one that has the yellow tint is my main one. And when you click on that one, I have a link on that one that takes them to the Spanish version one. But because I'm running short on pages and I'd like to do other things with them, then I figured maybe I could do this page in English and in Spanish.
Got you. Yeah. So, well, one thing that you are going to need to make sure that you do is if you're going to combine these, then you'll want to make sure that this information you have in both English and Spanish. Yeah. And that's kind of the only tricky thing, right? Because when they opt in, you're going to want to make sure that that email is in both English and Spanish. Right?
Yes.
If you do that.
Yes.
Now, actually, what you could do is you could use a question here and say, what language do you prefer to receive emails in? Right. And then you give them a multiple choice. And here, let me show you. So
yeah,
what language? So we'll just say English or Spanish. Make that required. We're going to make that a list, pick one, and we're going to edit that. And the first one is going to be English, and then the next one is going to be Spanish. And then what you're going to do is you'll have a tag for this, right? So leads English, right? And you'll have another one that is leads Spanish. And then you attach the English campaign here, and then the Spanish campaign on this other one. So you could actually, you don't need to jumble that all into one campaign. You can actually ask them which one. So just make sure that you don't have a campaign set here. You'll just have the campaigns apply based on what they pick here.
Within the list part that you did. So that's part there, it would not have a campaign. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you would put no campaign here. Right, you would select that, and then you wouldn't worry about any of the tags and stuff here. Rely on the options that you've added into these to handle the tagging, the campaigns, any automations and stuff that you want. And then you could the one thing that you could use that would be relevant to all was you would send them to a bilingual confirmation page.
Yes, and that was where my first thought came, where I was like, oh, I can put the confirmation page as one, and then it came to the idea, well, what about if I make one page bilingual with the jump to section, if that's even possible? And that's what Greg confirmed for me, which is wonderful.
Yeah, so what is, just so we're clear on which one it is. So this is the 101. Okay, this is the Spanish one. So Greg, I've never done this before, actually. How would we take the content of this and copy it into this?
That's that copy in feature. So go ahead and edit the one where you want to put it into. So like click on that one, and then I submit, would it go on the bottom or the top?
The bottom.
You can put it at the bottom and then click wherever that little bar. Yeah, so click there and then click that copy another page button, and then that will choose the other page, and it'll like pop it right in there. Now, if there's lead magnets or other pop-up stuff that doesn't copy that over, this just copies the content. But that lets you basically combine the pages, and then of course you can set this section. Click the pencil icon there, and then set the jump to link name there, and then you can edit. Put that at the top.
So we're going to call this SP, and then up at the top, we're going to, how do we do that, Greg?
Just hashtag and then whatever the jump to name is.
That's right, SP, update. So done, save, and view. So click a key, and it's, why is it not going there? Let me make sure I did that right. Did I save it? SP, is it case
maybe
sensitive?
save the page?
I thought I did.
Oh, okay.
It is case sensitive, yeah.
It's case sensitive.
So it is uppercase, yeah.
All right, so click, and there we go.
It worked. Wow. Yep. So just to quickly see what you all did on the new page that you added, how did you do the part where like you made that link up there to the jump to page?
That's right. So here's what we did. We have, this is the English section of the page. So below the English section, we clicked add a section, and then copy in another page, and then we copied in that content. Now for this very first section, I clicked this background and gave it a jump to name, made that SP. Right? And so now that SP is the link that they're clicking here, hashtag SP.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so now all you want to make sure that you do is go in here and modify, and make sure you've got like English and Spanish, and then set up that, what is your preferred language, and just make sure that those campaigns are attached there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely. So glad we could help. All right. Thank you guys for all of your great questions and your participation. Excited to see some familiar and new faces here today. We'll be back next week, same time. If you have something you'd like to learn more about, let us know. We literally did this call today because Mark said, how do I do this? So we're always looking to find more ways to help you guys learn how to use your system, save yourself time, and grow. So don't hesitate, reach out. We're always here to help and to hop on live to help you guys out here on our call. So we'll see you back same time next week. Everybody have a fantastic holiday weekend. If you're in the US, have a great weekend anyway, regardless of where you are. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.